In this video, I'm going to show you the amazing results I got from Dr. Brooke Goldner's raw vegan diet. It is not the hyper-nourish, it's goodbye lupus, so everything is raw vegan, compliant to her rules. I actually did not want to go on a raw vegan diet, but I was having several autoimmune conditions that were causing me extreme pain. One was hives, and my fingers were swelling and burning. Sometimes I couldn't walk or even function. The pain was just so insane. And also type 1 diabetes. I had other conditions as well. And even though I was eating a whole food, plant-based, 100% vegan diet, very anti-inflammatory, I was still having issues. But I haven't been vegan my whole life before I decided to try the raw vegan diet. I was vegan for about 3 years, but my issues started way before I went vegan. So all those anti-vegans, don't blame it on the vegan diet. I blame it on a lot of things, you know, the chemicals in our environment and sugar and processed food, all the meat, chips and the oil. My genes do have a little bit to it, but there's always a trigger. So the combination, getting viruses. The more you get, the more likely you're gonna have an issue. So I think that is what caused me to have all these medical problems that were just excruciating. So I had 2 doctors that recommended that I try a raw vegan diet. About 17 years ago, I actually tried a raw vegan diet, but I didn't know what I was doing. I just bought a bunch of cookbooks and I was trying the gourmet, and it had the agave and the coconut and the lots of nuts and seeds, and we're making delicious desserts. Those did not help me. It made me much worse in the fact that my blood sugar was up. I didn't get the autoimmune hives until about 4 years ago, and I started embarking on many more diets and reading a ton of books to figure out how I can get rid of this pain, because I believed that diet would make a difference and I wasn't going to give up. I heard about the 80-10-10, which is a bunch of fruit, and I love fruit. I did that one for about a week and my blood sugar was really high and I just felt like I was exhaling fructose from all that fruit. Even though I love fruit, there's a limit. So I didn't want to do it, but I decided I'm going to try it. I'm going to try Dr. Brooke Goldner's raw vegan protocol, and I was very, very resistant. It took me a couple years, or at least a year, before I decided, you know what, I've tried everything, and this is the only thing that's left for me. I can either eat the foods I really love, my potatoes, my cooked soups, but I wasn't enjoying it so much. I mean, I love the way it tastes, but I was feeling awful. And so I decided I'm gonna do it. And I hated the food at first. I do still prefer cooked foods. I have been doing the GAIP protocol, which is following all the rules. You gotta do your exercise, your self-care, taking care of yourself. Me, I love to read. Trying not to get stressed, reducing stress as much as possible, and having 96 ounces of water every day, or at least trying to, and getting 1.5 pounds of cruciferous vegetables every single day. So I've been doing that for 5 months, and people are just freaking out when I tell them, 5 months, oh my God. Not everybody needs to do the protocol for as long as I did, but I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't stopping too soon and stopping my progress. So yeah, so I did it for 5 months, and then she says after you have no more symptoms and your antibodies are clear, you can try this step down. So that's what I started doing. So I started adding tofu and different beans, trying different things every 3 days just to see how I react. I want to tell you what my results are. Got rid of the autoimmune hives in less than 6 weeks. And check out these photos. So you can see how my hands were discolored. They would be sometimes gray or red. If it got really cold, they would turn gray and they would get swollen. And then it was so crazy how the hives actually came to the surface. So when you are starting her protocol, you can get worse before you get better. And that's what happened. The hives were under my skin for a couple years, and then they started coming out. And it was really gross. But it did hurt, surprisingly enough. So that was the first thing that cleared up very, very quickly. What took the longest, as I did mention this first, I had very low energy. I would start out super energized in the mornings, and I would start working out with my weights, and then after about 2 sets I was completely depleted and exhausted, even though I was eating before, and I was eating carbohydrates, I was still eating fruit, I was making myself a fruit smoothie, or I would do a salad with fruit, but yet I was still completely drained and exhausted. And the reason why is I've had low iron my entire life, at least my adult life, when they started testing me for iron. So people can't say, oh, it's because you need meat for iron. Well, I was eating a ton of meat. I was eating way too much. I was eating excessive meat, just like the rest of society, chicken, beef, lamb, pork, chicken. I think I mentioned chicken again. But anyways, I ate way too much, and at one point I was actually weighing to make sure I was eating 100 grams of lean animal protein per day. So I was eating excessive amounts, which comes with saturated fat and all the other garbage that comes with it. It took the longest for my iron to get back up. So now I have a lot more energy. I can do 10 sets of weights, and I have energy after that to go for a 3-mile walk. So the cruciferous vegetables will up your iron because they're high in iron. Dr. Brooke Goldner explained that labs can take up to 6 months to show negative. Years ago, I got a confirmation that I was a type 1 diabetic, and the results were positive for type 1 diabetes antibodies. And those antibodies, what they do is they attack the beta cells, and those beta cells produce insulin. So if I'm eating a meal that contains carbohydrates, my blood sugars will go up. And the only way I was able to get the blood sugar down was with insulin, and exercise did help. So I didn't want to wait 6 months, so even before 5 months, just about 5 months, I got that same test redone that said initially that I was positive for type 1 diabetes antibodies. Now it's negative. So crazy. So the initial one said that my antibodies were 27, and now it's less than 10. So that number, according to the labs, says if it's less than 10, you are negative. So I am no longer a type 1 diabetic. But the problem is I'm still insulin resistant, and I'm still insulin dependent. So what that means is, because I have been diabetic for about 17 years, and the antibodies have been attacking my beta cells for over a decade, those beta cells are destroyed. And so I don't have the same amount as everyone else. So I do have to take some insulin. So every morning I have my fruit smoothie, and it's about 90 grams of carbohydrate, which is a generous amount. And I do my weight training, and I go for a walk, and then I don't need any insulin, which is incredible. Normally, for that type of workout, I would need 4 units of insulin. And now I don't need any for my workout. My beta cells are functioning better, but I still do need some exogenous insulin, so synthetic insulin. But the thing that may happen, but we don't know, as far as I know from what she said, is I'm the only one who has reversed their type 1 diabetes antibodies. So hopefully there's more people out there that will try this who are type 1 diabetic, and the sooner the better. But what may happen in the future is that my beta cells will become stronger and maybe I won't need any insulin. So if I only eat the fruit in the morning and I don't eat any fruit and eat completely raw the rest of the day and I just do a little more exercise, I don't need any insulin at all, which is incredible. I've even done the ketogenic diets and I've done a vegan ketogenic diet and I had to use insulin much more and a lot less carbohydrate. So this works. And so if anyone has antibodies and has an autoimmune condition, try Dr. Brooke Goldner's raw vegan protocol. Think of it as a detox, not a lifestyle. So I am going to continue eating the cruciferous vegetables, and I'm going to drop it down from 1.5 to 1 pound, and I'm going to continue eating my flax seeds. So I've been eating about 3/4 of a cup, and I will drop that down to about 1/2 cup, and of course continue with the water and everything else, like, you know, self-care. And that way I can live pain-free and hopefully get stronger and just be well and do everything that I want to do. You know, if I want to go for a walk, you know, the things that make us human and mobile. So let me know if you have any questions. And again, a lot of people don't need to do this protocol for as long as I do. Some people are better in a couple weeks. All the medical problems that I've had, I have reversed with nutrition. I made a video on the foods that I eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner on her diet, and I'll put that on the end screen so you can check it out, and hope to see you soon.